The NBA season may now be over thanks to the finals being won by the Lakers, but trust us when we say there is a lot going on as players, coaches, GMs, and teams go and prepare for the next season, which may be coming sooner or later than people expect. One of the biggest things leading up to that will be the delayed NBA draft, which has a lot of people curious due to the cancellation of the previous NCAA season. And one of the top draft picks is LaMelo Ball. And yet some reports are saying he might not be as solid as a pick as you might expect. So allow us to show you how LaMelo is disappointing everyone in the draft workouts and won't be a top pick. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Just a reminder about our new giveaway. We're giving away the new iPad Pro or the new iMac Pro. The choice is yours. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple.
Number 8. The Path of Lamelo into the NBA. One of the most important aspects of rating a player for the NBA is determining how good they are along their journey to the league. Ball took an unorthodox route to the NBA. Most hopeful prospects look to enter the NBA draft after a year or two at a major or mid-major university. LaMelo, on the other hand, went to countries like Lithuania and Australia to play professionally. Moreover, he even became one of the youngest American players to sign a professional basketball contract, which does show some skill and ability. Ball's tenure at Australia allowed him to gain the experience needed to enter the NBA. He won Rookie of the Year for the NBL in Australia. Now LaMelo is one of the top prospects entering the NBA draft. Much of the speculation around the draft suggests that LaMelo could be at least a top 5 draft pick. LaMelo has the talent, skill, and resume to warrant the coveted number 1 overall draft pick. Or at least that's what many would say based on what they've seen overseas. Number 7. Word on the street. For NBA teams, they are given the advantage of scouting potential rookies through the NBA Draft Combine. At the Combine, draftees are put through shooting drills, pace tests, strength challenges, and pickup games so that coaches and NBA scouts can understand the playing style of a player. If they're impressed, the scouts invite players to work out with their franchises to assess how the player would fit in with their team. This may undo Ball's chances to be a top pick. The Charlotte Observer's Rick Bonnell revealed that Ball's interviews and workouts are undoing his projected top 5 pick status. Here is what I am hearing from the league at large. LaMelo Ball is not performing very well at job interviews. I've heard that from multiple sources. He is not improving his perception via job interview. There are people drafting later in the top 10 who are not preparing for the possibility of Ball still being around. And I'm not saying that he will be a top 3 pick. I am saying that I know for a fact that there are teams later in the top 10 who are doing more research on him because they no longer think it's a given he will. And if you can't tell, that's not good. Number 6. Why do interviews matter? It may seem like a dumb thing to talk about, but the job interviews of potential NBA players matter. Mainly because it's not just about the skills of the player himself, but the personality they're going to bring to the organization. Think about it like this. Imagine Michael Jordan or LeBron James doing an interview where they brag about their abilities, say they're going to dominate the league, and that they already have demands for if and when you sign them. That would make you think twice about doing it, right? Because while skills do win championships, it's personalities that carry you far in the league. We all know stories of players who have bad attitudes, and they get their comeuppance sooner rather than later. And if there is anything we know about the Ball family, is that they are loud and don't like being told what to do. Number 5. The Big Baller Brand. LaVar is the patriarch of the Ball family, and he is in very basic terms, a putz. No, seriously, he's a jerk and a moron and a fool and one of the loudest people you are ever going to meet. He's mean, he's misogynistic, and he'll antagonize anyone who thinks that his sons are not for real. For proof of this, look at Lonzo Ball. More on his career later. He went number 2 in the draft to the Lakers, and both before, during, and after the draft, LaVar wouldn't shut up, not even for a minute. He went on to First Take and chewed out Stephen A. Smith because of the comments he had, and it was global news because it showed just how sad and pathetic he was. And while it's true that Lonzo isn't as loud as his father, and even did a commercial stating that fact clearly, that doesn't mean LaMelo picked up those traits. because when you hear that a talented player like LaMelo is failing the job interview, that means he is saying something that is not pleasing to those who are going to be his bosses, and you can bet that he got that kind of thing from his dad. Not sure, it could also be tactics or court composure strategy thing, but more likely than not, LaMelo got loud and people took notice. Number 4, overhyped. Here's another aspect of this that needs to be discussed. Just because someone is good in college or just because someone is a star overseas does not mean that they're going to be a star in the NBA. There have been numerous dominant players in the college overseas ranks that have come to the NBA with high expectations and yet aren't able to perform on the NBA stage. It's not an insult, it happens. A lot. And in every draft there are busts, especially at the top 10 level. Which brings us to LaMelo Ball, who was again the number 2 pick and went to the Lakers. He lasted all of 2 seasons before being traded to the New Orleans Pelicans in a deal that would bring Anthony Davis to the Lakers and get them a championship. Now, you might think that this meant that Lonzo was a valuable player with trade value. He wasn't. He had okay stats per se, but he all but floundered in his first 2 seasons in the league, and round 3 in New Orleans wasn't much better. Lonzo was a stud back in his time in UCLA, which is why he got such high praise going into the draft. So what would happen if LaMelo is the same way? That would mean that 2 of the Ball brothers aren't worth what their father is saying they're worth, and people will take notice of that. Number 3, overseas isn't the same as the NBA. When you think of players who went overseas and did well and then came to the NBA to do the same, you might think of ones like Luka Doncic, Tony Kukoc, Manu Ginobili, Dirk Nowitzki, and so on. These players have or are changing the perception of European and international players. However, there are just as many who came to the NBA and proved that there really is another tier level in terms of the play over the one that they play over there. Plus, there are different rules in the international leagues, including some key defensive rules, which is why many European transfers are known for great scoring, but not great defense. Why does this matter to LaMelo Ball? Simple, he played overseas in 2 different nations and did well there. And while that is good experience, it's not necessarily one that will transfer. It's a different league and difficulty level here, and given his poor job interviews and such, teams are really going to be asking themselves if this kid is worth it. Number 2, family baggage. We already talked about LaMelo's family and how they affected him, but another aspect here is that whoever drafts him, and he will get drafted, no doubt, they're going to have to deal with the baggage that comes with that draft choice, mainly the presence of his father. LaVar Ball is going to be wherever his sons play and will bring a lot of notoriety to the team that they're a part of. It's inevitable. It's literally what he does. So thus, all teams have to consider if they'll be able to contain LaVar Ball. Most won't. And when a team is trying to win a title, especially in a potentially shortened season like what might come, they don't have time to deal with a loud family member. Number 1, will he get drafted high? So here we are. The facts are laid out on the table. Will LaMelo Ball get drafted high by an NBA team? Or will he be relegated to a mid-card draft pickup? It's honestly hard to say. The NBA draft has been surprising in the past, and there are a lot of players that could be made in terms of trades, unexpected picks, and so on that could hurt LaMelo's stock and where he lands. Only time will tell, but we wouldn't be surprised if he's sweating where he is right now in terms of his placement. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at LaMelo Ball and how he might not be as surefire a pick in the NBA draft as many previous thought he was? Does this prove that the Ball family is more hype than substance and that LaVar Ball has done wrong by his kids? Or do you think that once he's on the court, his production and skills will shine through? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.